Hello and welcome back again to another episode of Today we're taking a very good look at the Pocket Toys Transfer, the Evil Energy Panzer Legion 5 PL0 Ruiner.B Team 5 in 1. Now this video is part 1 of 2. I just couldn't condense all this down into one video. It was ending up about like the 45-minute mark. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the vehicle modes, their transformations, and the bot modes. And I'll upload the combined Bruticus mode comparison with Iron Factory at the same time. So if you're not seeing it in your subscriber panel or in your YouTube search, just click the Bots and Bits logo underneath this video and it will be at the top of my channel. Now, this is a 1-to-1 KO of the Iron Factory War Giant, I think it's called. This is all thanks to my good buddy Sam. He's one of Bots and Bits' biggest legends. Thanks a lot, buddy. I will look after this better than the Prime. To start off with, we get all of his guns, which all combine together into the Bruticus blaster. I really cannot be bothered pulling this whole thing apart. So you can see that it's basically just all solid black plastic. Got a little bit of silver on Vortex's guns, and a little bit of pink here, which is done alright. It's a little bit fuzzy around the edges, but whatever. Now, with all this squished together, it does hold together pretty well. See, it's not floppy, nothing. And it looks alright. And he holds it pretty damn well. Next we have this little mini shockwave. I love this. I think this is really cool. The only thing it really does is the little visor turns up. You have a rubber cord. This one's a little bit stiff, but that doesn't matter. Purple plastic is done pretty well. There's not really any sprue marks. There's a little bit of dust, and that's my fault. Silver on the nozzle looks great. More clear plastic on the end. It looks good. And he holds this one pretty well as well. We also get a couple of baggies. One has what I think are flight stand adapters. They're actually meant to go inside the torso to hold it all together. I put them in and it wouldn't work. I just couldn't line it up properly, so it's sitting just fine without them. And we get some replacement ball sockets, hips, elbows, or whatever they are, just in case yours come loose or wear out. And instructions. Hefty instructions. On to the figures themselves. Now first we have Onslaught, and as you can see he has this like just absolute mess. This trailer, it looks like so I'm just going to take it off. We'll have a quick look at it. It's come apart. I would do a roll test on it, but Bruticus's head is underneath and I can't really move his antenna. They only go a certain amount and then they start flexing heat. So I'm not going to push those antennae too much. Yours might be different, I don't know. So this trailer, it holds together okay. The only problem I really have is with this connection here. But apart from that, I don't really care about this trailer. It looks like shit. I'm never going to have it in this mode anyway, so if you're interested, there it is. Now Onslaught looks pretty cool. His giant BFG tabs in the back here really tight. These aren't too loose and they do rotate, so you can hide the screws in vehicle mode and in combined mode. Got another little cannon here which rotates, and that's pretty much it. Color wise it looks alright. The plastic, same with the trailer. There's no sprue marks, there's no mold lines. This is incredibly tidy, and you're going to hear me say that a few times this review. The plastic on these is just so tidy. And you know what? The paint overall in the whole set isn't too bad either. Got a little bit of silver detailing here, which isn't fuzzy, it isn't blurry, no dirt, nothing. Little bit of blue, and that's about it. Got a little bit of chest detail down there. We'll go over that after. But overall, it's a mobile phone with wheels and a cannon on its back, so it looks alright. It does the job. Now next up we have Vortex. Now I have a problem with Vortex, and it's this peg here. We've got this little thing, his cockpit, and it's meant to tab onto the front. The problem is, it doesn't really want to do it. I think the peg is just too big for the peg hole, so it's not going all the way in, and generally it just wants to pop off. Right, so I love this color scheme. I think they've done a great job. A little bit of blue in the windows, a little bit of gunmetal detail there, a bit more blue there, and that all looks fantastic. Blades spin nice. It holds in tight. Everything holds in pretty well, with the exception of the front of it. There you go. It's holding now, just for a little bit. Jeez, that really sticks out, doesn't it? Anyway, it looks pretty good. Next, we have my favorite Combaticon, Swindell. and I think that looks fantastic. What a cool looking little Jeep. Iron Factory did a great job on the original sculpt, and Pocket Toys have done a good job knocking it off. Now, the mustard color is looking pretty good. We've got blue paint here in the windows. I've lost a lot of paint right there. Seems worn off, and I've got a little bit of a paint splatter there. I might just be able to pick that off. I got some of it. It'll come off. So, not bad. Bit of red on the back, and we've got some silver details there. Same push plug wheels. These spin very well, and overall, Swindell holds together perfectly. Next we have Brawl, and there isn't really much to say about this guy. He's a green lump with a turret that rotates at an awkward position, and the cannon goes up and down. Now the turret barrel does come off quite easily on mine. It's just sort of sitting there. It doesn't fall off when you shake it, but like a gentle twist and it just comes straight off. Again, no sprue marks, no stress marks, nothing. The plastic is perfectly clean. Bit of gunmetal up here, and that's pretty much it for him. And finally, we have Blast Off. He is a brown hot dog with a rib cage. This design just looks terrible, but Pocket Toys have knocked it off quite faithfully. A little bit of pink just in there, which we've got bleeding from the dark brown coming through. A couple of chips and bubbles in that lot. A little bit of space there for a Decepticon symbol if you wish. Gunmetal up here, which is nice and evenly done. Bit of clear purple plastic in the cockpit. Again, it is done super tidy. No sprue marks. No mold lines. No stress marks, which is the important one. We'll get to that later. But for the time being, super tidy, no fault. The trailer parts and all of his combiner bits also join together to make this very, very nice looking bust. There you go. If you want to display your Pocket Toys in vehicle or bot mode, you can have this bust just there. Right, so to transform Onslaught, remove the cannon if you haven't already, and then we're just going to... There he is in bot mode, and doesn't he look fantastic? That is one cool looking Onslaught. I'm very impressed with this. A lot of these joints are nice and stiff. I'm seeing a little bit of wear sort of in this shoulder ball socket on both sides. It's still nice and stiff, but I feel like every time I do it, I'm creating new plastic flakes that might be loosening up. Other side is nice and tight as well. We have an upper bicep swivel, which is super stiff. Go back down. Same with that side, super stiff. Double jointed elbow for the transformation, and a nice wrist swivel. We have a awesome waist swivel, and we have the head on a ball socket. It's a little bit loose, but it's not floppy, so I'm not concerned. Ratcheted hips forward. Oh, his foot's gone. And back that far, so not really anything back. Strong. That's not a ratchet, it's just a friction, but it's super tight all the way out. Really, really good. We have a knee swivel and a pretty decent knee bend considering all the way to there. All these joints are nice and stiff, and we have a ball socket foot which is on a hinge plus a heel spur. And I guess he's pretty well articulated for his size and clunkiness. Alrighty, Vortex next. And there's Vortex all done. Now before we carry on, I'm just going to show you his cockpit gun thing. You grab this little... Oh, shit, come here. Grab this little top bit here off of the Bruticus cannon, and it just tabs in like that. And then that just slides in like that, and he now has this crappy thing. These flaps at the back of his shoulders are for these weapons, I believe. These ones with silver. And they just tab in like that. So the colors look great on this guy. That red visor is incredibly vibrant. Very, very vibrant. Silver on the mouthpiece is done alright. A little bit of gunmetal grey there. All looks pretty good. We do have a wrist swivel, which is nice and tight, double jointed elbow, ball socket for the shoulder, plus a hinge for transformation. So you do get quite the range, and that's all nice and stiff. All this is getting in the way. Ball socket hips, that one's a bit loose. I got a little bit of wear inside that ball socket there, which is a little bit concerning. Other side is about the same, little specks of plastic in there. Nearly forgot, we've got a waist swivel, double jointed knee, which has got a pretty good range, and a ball socket foot, which is nice and stiff. So articulation wise, he's not bad apart from the slightly loose hips and just this crazy backpack. But I suppose the heel does account for that. It's not like he's unstable, it just looks unsightly. Now Swindell. Alright, all done. As you saw, I did have a couple of panels pop off during transformation. I suppose I'd rather it pop off than break. It's not desirable, but it is better than pure breakage. So he looks great. Details on the face are nice and sharp. He's got the nice silver paint there for the mouthpiece. Blue eyes look good. A little bit of gunmetal there. One thing I am having drama with is this section. This looks like it's meant to tab into something instead of just floating there. So like he always ends up like he's sinking into a couch or something. It's not. Yeah. Anyway, bit of silver there, which is actually quite messy. The usual gunmetal down here that we saw in vehicle mode. When it comes to articulation, really stiff waist swivel, head on a ball socket, but it's also on this chest piece that I mentioned before, so it's a bit annoying. Shoulders have a hinge here and a ball socket here, which are nice and stiff and crazy articulation. Double jointed elbow, but you still only get the 90 degrees because of this paneling here. We have a wrist swivel, which is kind of loose on that side, and the same on the other side. Ball socket hips, straight out to there, they're quite loose in fact. Upper thigh swivel, pretty tight, and a knee bend, which is great. These feet are huge, so we've got a rock there and a hinge forward and back, plus the other transformation hinge, so you can get him doing whatever you want basically. The plastic quality seems fantastic. I'm not seeing any scratches, any sprue marks, any chips, nothing. It's all, it looks great. It looks great. Brawl next. Alright, Brawl's all done. Now he looks fantastic. He looks absolutely great. Iron Factory did another great job with the sculpt on this one. Now, face details, nice and sharp. Bright silver mouth plate there. Do have a little bit of a chip just in the bottom, which doesn't look too great. Bright red visor. Bit of gunmetal here. Bit of silver there on the purple plastic. Now we have a ball socket with a hinge that doesn't really move too much. Both sides nice and tight. Ball socket head nice and tight. Upper bicep swivel impeded slightly by this tread detail. Double jointed elbow, single jointed elbow that gets you to there with a nice tight wrist swivel. Now we do also have the waist swivel, not impeded too much by the tank turret, so you can you're meant to be able to rotate this super tight hinge and put him up a little bit higher if you want, just to clear those hips out of the way. Now, ball socket hips, nice and tight. The upper thigh swivel is tighter than the waist swivel. Very nice. And we've got ball socket feet with a very large heel. Looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. I'm a big fan of that. And then lastly, we have Blast Off. there's Blast Off now. Probably the weakest looking one of the lot. Transformation was quite easy, apart from getting this head out. As you saw, I had to use a tool just to yank that out because it was a little bit stuck. Just this final tab. But it is nice and secure once that tab is in. Now, head is on a ball socket. It's a little bit loose, but side to side, it's quite tight. Face details, it doesn't look very good at all. Details are quite soft. Missing a lot of paint on the mouthpiece there, and we've got like light piping eyes, but no light piping. Again, hinged shoulders with ball sockets. These ball sockets are nice and tight, and I'm not seeing any wear in the plastic on these ones, which is great. We have single jointed elbow, but I've got a nasty stress mark just right there, right where the screw is. Nothing on the other side looks clean. We have the mushroom peg waist swivel, which looks great. A change that they've made is, let me just bring Iron Factory in for a sec. A change that they've made here is, see the mushroom peg? They've put a plastic surround around it so it won't slide off. On the Iron Factory, you can see that they haven't done that, and it's led to some pretty nasty stress marks on the inside there. One of the reasons why I didn't review this was because that is a nasty stress mark right in a crucial area. Can you see that? Might be a bit hard with the shadows. Anyway, so we said the waist swivel. The legs are like super floppy. They are really floppy. Not much wear inside the ball sockets, which is great. Upper thigh swivel is nice and tight. The knee bend is reasonable considering, and the feet are on ball sockets, which are nice and stiff. He doesn't fall over. He poses just fine. He's not doing the splits or anything. I guess his own weight isn't pushing him down. So look, some design faults or decisions, we'll say, aside, it's a great set. One stress mark, a couple of loose hips. I think it's doing alright for the price. So as a bot and vehicle set, are they worth it, and should you buy them? Yeah, I reckon they are. I think this is a great alternative for people if you wanted to double up. If you've already bought an Iron Factory and you want to display Iron Factory combined plus the bot modes around him, or plus the vehicle modes around him, then I think this is a cheap way of doing that. But yeah, the colours are slightly different, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Or even if you haven't bought the Iron Factory, considering these are about $100 US cheaper than the Iron Factory set, you could buy 2 sets of these and display them, one combined, one vehicle or bot and vehicle, whatever, and it would still come in cheaper than buying a single Iron Factory. With all that said though, the big question is, does he hold up in combined mode? Will the Pocket Toy stand on its own in Bruticus mode and be comparable to Iron Factory? Well, you're gonna have to watch the next video and find out. And that's it for now. So if you enjoyed this video and you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out the Instagram, Twitter, and the Facebook private group Total Legends. And as always guys, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching.